beautiful watch that you see in front of you. That is the Orient 2. This watch has a lot going for it, with an in-house automatic movement which hacks as well as hand winds. Also, it has a 200 meter of water resistance and a solid built case. So let's talk about this watch. So here we have the Orient 2 of the watch stand, and it looks beautiful. As you can see, the blue dial reflecting the lighting. So let's start by talking about the build quality of this watch. Now first of all, let me tell you that I have changed the strap on this watch. This watch comes on a stainless steel bracelet. I have put it on a leather strap because I think the color matches quite nicely with the dial and the outer ring. I like to have options. I occasionally put it on NATO strap as well when I want to wear it casually. This is more of a dress watch look, and it goes quite well with formal wear as well as casual wear. So the build quality, the watch is made up of stainless steel, quite solid case and case back. It is of course a screw down case back, and it also has a screw down crown. As you can see here, you have to unwind it to set the watch and set the date and time, etc. and wind it, because this watch also features hacking and hand winding, which we'll talk about later. Now the outer ring is unidirectional and it rotates quite well, and being unidirectional, it does not rotate in this way because it is a safety feature, as you may know, in dive watches. It is a 120 click bezel, and it is quite solidly built. Earlier when I got this watch, this ring was very stiff, but now after using it a lot, it has loosened up quite nicely, and it does not feel that stiff, just solid enough, and it is also quite robustly built. So as you can see, it does not have any play whatsoever. Being a 200 meter water resistant case, you can take it swimming and skin diving without any problem. So that is also quite a nice feature. It is not ISO certified like what you get with the Seiko SKX and some other dive watches, but I think for most of us, this is 200 meter water resistant is just enough, because you probably would use much more modern dive computers if you plan to go diving. So I think this is quite perfect for day-to-day situation. Now talking about the watch movement, it is of course an automatic watch, as you can tell from the writing over here and the sweeping seconds hand. And what I really like about it is that it features an in-house Japanese movement made completely by Orient. So what an in-house movement is that the parts of the movement and the movement itself is completely made in the factory of the manufacturer, and the parts are not sourced from outside, so they have much better control over quality and it is much more consistent. Secondly, it has a day and date complication. As you can see, it displays date in 2 languages, English and Spanish, I guess, and it also features hand winding as well as hacking. So in this price range, currently I think this is one of the most feature rich quality Japanese dive watches that you can get, because the Seiko watches in this price range do not feature hacking and hand winding. So as you can see, when you pull out the crown, the second hand stops, that's hacking, so you can set the time more precisely. And with an automatic watch, I think that you will want to set the time more precisely, because it deviates a lot more than what your regular quartz watches offer. So that's quite nice. And as you can hear, it features hand winding as well, which is quite useful if you rotate your watches a lot and you don't wear the same watch every day. It features a 40-hour power reserve, the automatic movement, so that is also nice. I got about 33 hours roughly in day-to-day use, so that's reasonable. Now talking about other features, I bought the blue dial version because it looks quite nice. The black dial version is quite flat from what I saw from the pictures, but this blue version features a nice sunburst pattern on the dial, as you can see here, which I really like. And also the rotating bezel, as you can see, features a matte black kind of finish. It is not that shiny, but it does reflect some light, which gives a much more depth to the whole dial. And it also has applied lume markers, and they glow quite nicely, and once you charge it, it stays readable for quite a long time. So if you wake up in the middle of night and you need to check the time, it will most likely show you the correct time without much difficulty, because the lume is so good comparable to the Seikos. And also the hour and minute hand and the second hand feature lume, and it is quite hefty amount of lume, as you can see on the hour and minute hand. What I also like is the difference in between the two hands. The hour hand is much more broad, so you can easily differentiate the minute hand if you are using this to count the elapsed time. Now coming on to the dimensions, the watch is 41 millimeter in diameter, so 41.5 to be precise. So I think it would fit most of wrists quite well, so that is also quite nice. I'll include a wrist shot over here so you can see. So I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, so you get an idea how this watch will look like on yours. Now just let's take a closer look at the whole watch. As you can see here, the watch has quite a lot of depth to the dial, and I love the applied markers and the outer chapter ring, which is separate. It gives quite a nice look to this watch. I also love the day and date window. It reflects light quite nicely. The cut on is 3-dimensional, so it is not a flat window as you may find in many watches, so it reflects light at different angles, which looks quite nice. So if you want to talk about negative things, I don't find there is much negative to talk about with this watch, because at this price range I think you'll be hard pressed to find a watch that is such a good quality watch and also has so many features in it. So the first thing that is somewhat negative is that the hour hand is similar to many of the cheaper Casio watches that I've seen. I'll include the photo here. I don't know if it is a coincidence or what, but the hand looks quite similar to $15 Casio watches. But of course these hands are quite much more elegant than those watch hands. Another thing that initially I found be somewhat negative is that the crown is somewhat smaller, so I found it difficult sometimes to unscrew and screw the crown back, but now I'm used to it, so I don't have much of a problem with it. And this third thing is that the bezel has quite shallow coin edge on it, and initially it was quite stiff, so I found it difficult to rotate, but now that it is loose enough, I don't find it difficult to rotate at all. So that may be a negative for many of you initially, but I think after you get used to it, it won't be a problem. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about with this watch. If you're looking to buy a great automatic dive watch which is quite versatile and can be used as a dress watch as well as a casual watch, I think in this price range you will not find a better watch than this Orient Ray 2. Of course there are the iconic Seiko SKX watches, but they are much more purpose built and they look more tooly, so I think this is a great watch to buy. I hope you found it useful, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below, and please hit the like button if you like this video. Thank you and bye bye.